Evening, everyone. It's 6:07 on Tuesday afternoon, first day of our holiday shortened trading week. So let's get right to it. There's a lot to talk about. First of all, I saw the CEO of Norfolk Southern on today being interviewed by, I don't remember her name, uh, Morgan Brennan. Um, and there were a couple of things that hit me. First of all, the first thing that hit me was that this is what happens, the derailment and problems. This is what happens when you go for optics and you put a mayor from the Midwest on in your cabinet because he fits into a specific box that you want the optics to appear. Sort of like I'm only going to consider a black woman as my running mate or for the Supreme Court. In any event, that said, the CEO was talking about how much they spend to maintain their track and how much, how important it is and how they're giving financial assistance to people who were um, put out of their homes, might get sick, etc. And that's a load of crap. This is not financial assistance. This is paying for the damage that you caused. And the damage that was caused, I mean, think about the Exxon Valdez. They still talk about it. They still talk about the damage to the ecosystem there. What, 35 years after it happened? These people were subjected to burning carcinogens in the air. We don't know how long. I can listen to all the tests that they ran, and we're having this interview, 20 yards from where the derailment actually started. But the bottom line is, even their controlled burn, after it got completely out of hand, we have no clue what the damage is. And for this jackass to talk about financial assistance, that just rubs me the wrong way. Okay, so we had Walmart and HD this morning. Walmart was down about 5% this morning, and it managed to climb all the way back to 147.33, up 89 cents on the day after trading 139. Um, so a great showing there. I think they're kind of sandbagging on the bad guidance um, on the side of managing expectations. And so it'll be one of those under promise and overperform. They did, in fact, beat both top and bottom. So there's that. Home Depot, on the other hand, missed on revenues and beat on the bottom line. And they can jerk the bottom line around all they want. But you, as my friend Dennis says, you can't fake revenues. And so the stock this morning was trading as low as 303, and pre-open when I did my video, it was 305, down 12.95, or a little over 4%. It continued down, and in fact, it actually closed down 22.45. So it went from down 13 to down almost 23, from down 4% to down 7%. So a pretty ugly performance there. And of course, there are plenty of excuses. Oh, the housing market, this. In the meantime, Toll Brothers came out after the close and actually beat on the earnings. That one was last trade before the market closed was at the close 55.77, down $1.43, It actually is trading now at 57, up $1.23. So a good showing there. Coinstar, pardon me, I continuously call it that. That's the red box in your grocery store for DVDs. Coinbase actually beat on revenues, missed on earnings. However, their guidance was, actually not bad. And after closing at 62.07, the stock route went all the way down to 57.60 on the print, on the headline, and came all the way back and is currently trading 62.99 down 221. So 62.99 down 221 is still 92 cents better than it was before the earnings came. So there's that. Palo Alto Networks beat, top line beat, bottom line is acting like a champ. It closed 166.89 down 239, traded as high as 179.75, and is actually currently trading 179.29, up 10.01. So slightly lower, down, a percent and a quarter, and now up 5.8%. So that's a great show. Now, tomorrow morning, we have Baidu, STLA, which is the new incarnation of Chrysler, Wolverine Worldwide, Wingstop, and economic news is mortgage apps at 7 o'clock, of course. Crude inventories at 10:30, and then the FOMC meeting notes, the minutes, at 2 o'clock. I don't think the minutes are really going to make a lot of difference here. We've already heard from 5 of the Fed governors who were in the 50%, half a percent um, camp for raising rates, and now are in the we're going to have to raise, go higher, and for longer. That's all out there. I cannot imagine that the FOMC minutes will have any bearing, unless, of course, those minutes reflect that they were much more dovish and therefore much wronger. Okay, so the Dow was down just under 700. It's the worst day of the year. And oh, by the way, it's down on the year. It closed the year at 147. It closed today 129 and change. Not overwhelming, but it's not great. Not when you look at the S&P or NASDAQ. In the meantime, the NASDAQ was down 295 or 2.5%. As far as market internals, we were 7.5 to 1 on the downside in the NYSE, 4.2 to 1 down in the NASDAQ. S&P was down a flat 2%, down 81.75, but still strongly up on the year. But again, it closed just below the round number at 39.97.34. Another big loser, as it was on Friday, was the Russell, down 58.14 or 3%, but nothing was as bad as the transports, down 491 or 3.25%. So transport worst, followed by Russell, followed by NASDAQ, followed by the Dow, and bringing up the rear down just 2% was the S&P. Okay, oil down 19 cents. It was a little higher. The chart on the screen, by the way, is the gold. And what seems to me here, it's kind of interesting. You would think with all of that Biden crap, trying to rattle Putin's cage a little, and then going to Poland today when he hasn't been to the disaster in Pennsylvania, let's see, 75 miles from where he lives. is kind of telling. But in the meantime, all of the metals were higher except gold. Gold actually closed down about $7, 770, 1842.50 down 770, while silver was higher by 18 cents, 21.89. Not a huge move, but nonetheless higher. Uh, Copper, which we bought today, was up pretty big. We're in a spread there. And the link to the coffee and copper comment that I made in the middle of the afternoon will be on page 1 of tonight's daily note. But silver was up, copper was up, platinum was up, palladium was up, even aluminum was up. These negative signs here are for the reopening of the night session. And, they're really not much. I mean, down 2.5 cents in silver after being up 18 cents is not bad. Being down a little over a penny after being up almost a dime um, for the copper is fine. Platinum was up 30 and closed on the high. So this is where the copper is. The copper actually closed up 11.7 cents, and tonight so far it's down a penny. So I'm very comfortable with that trade. But the dollar was stronger, and that, of course, as we've discussed ad nauseum, is because bonds were so weak. Bonds were down 1.75. Now, I'm going to just show you that chart quickly on the weekly basis because it's what I publish every weekend. And it has a bunch of arrows that I'm sure everybody is familiar with. Let's take it out a little on the weekly basis. And let's go here for 3 years because that gives us the blow off high here at 191 and 22.30. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a new one, 8 from a week ago. Lower highs, and it looks like we've just broken here, and we're going to test and see if we make a lower low. I mean, all of these have been lower highs, lower lows, and basically that strengthens the dollar. As I've said before, if our interest rates are high, which they are, and you want to buy a dollar denominated government note or bond, you have to have dollars. And so, as more and more people want to pile into a riskless 5% for a 1 year, they need those greenbacks and they drive them up, and this is where they go. All right, folks, I'll be back first thing in the morning. By the way, everybody is talking about how Target is going to be the big question in earnings because obviously Walmart managed to get through. If you recall, it was Walmart and Target with inventory issues late last year that just pummeled both stocks. Um, it doesn't report until a week from today, so I'm thinking people are going to stay a little bit away from retail, and I haven't done the work on it yet, but I will say that one of the things that I wanted to look at was possibly Signet. Remember, mall-based jewelry retailer with not the best history and certainly a crappy history um, vis-a-vis customer service and honesty. So I'm going to take a look at that overnight, and I'll be back first thing in the morning with all of your info. Have a good evening.